Oh yeah, so this video might get interesting. I'm either going to be really upset or really happy, depending on how they went about this. You see, the story goes, this 1/8 scale short course truck had a lot of promise, but unfortunately it was partially untuned and it was partially tuned incorrectly, and as a result it didn't drive well at all. Then, after just doing the things that the factory should have done themselves, it was an absolute animal. From what I can tell, this is a new version of that 1/8 scale short course truck over there. So hopefully Hosim did right by the M33 or the Mojarco, whatever that means. Definitely seems to have a better looking body paint scheme livery. So I am super curious to see how much, if any of that, they have done. All right, shocks are definitely updated. That feels better. Body looks way better than that one in my opinion. Next was the center differential. On that car was very loose. In this one, it is not very loose, so that's awesome. All right, I think the front might have some fluid. The rear is maybe, maybe not. They might as well just made that a V and called it the Mojarco.
Hey now!
That kind of tells me they're going after the Mojave, so we'll find out if it stacks up. So this model from Hosim already looks better, is tuned better out of the box, and it is cheaper than that one. Plus, if I recall from the pictures that I saw on the interlines, yeah, 2 3S batteries. That's fantastic, because that only came with one 3S battery, and this is a 6S vehicle. I'll most likely end up recommending some thicker center diff fluid. Well, probably all 3 diffs, but let's see what we get. There's most of the stickers installed. I don't know what they were thinking on the windshield. That looks a little weird, and this just looks kind of overcrowded. I'm gonna keep that for another car, but I don't really think I want it right there. I'm gonna go over a few things just in case anyone's missed that video, but there's no need to go over this extensively. It seems like a well-made car. I haven't had any issues with that other than the original drivability problems. There it is. I was about to say this one doesn't come with the speed pinion, but it does. You do get extra tethered body clips, 2 chargers for the 2 batteries, and a wheel wrench for the large wheel nuts, and some extra springs. We'll go over that in a minute. I'm not gonna put the speed pinion on because I just did a video of that car with the speed pinion. Got 52 miles an hour with it. So as you can see, we have a metal motor mount, sliding adjustability. It's also cradled in the rear. It's a big one too. It's a 4274 2000 kV Mod 1 gears, steel cased center differential, all metal drivetrain. It uses chromium helical cut gears, oil filled shocks. The only thing about this is there's not a whole lot of travel for jumps unless you adjust the suspension to sit up really high, which they do give you those springs if you decide you want to do that, but it makes it sit up way too high. Again, watch my original video on this car if you want to see that. I'll post it in the description. I'll also put it at the end of this video. Adjustable servo saver. I'm just gonna wind that down a hair. Anyway, these oil-filled shocks are fully metal. Even the lower mounting perch, somewhat flexible plastics, not overwhelmingly pliable. Big old beefy bumper. There's a lot of material there. Same with this back one. Lots of stuff going on. Upper chassis brace. You got extra metal stiffener plates here and here. They go all the way underneath and are sandwiched between the bumper and the differentials, all held together as one unit. It's got holes for droop screws, but no actual droop screws in there. You'd have to add them yourself, though I don't think that would really benefit much here. Sway bars in the front and the rear. I already mentioned the center differential. Standard size servo with a metal servo arm. 130 amp ESC. See, and that was the thing. When I first got that older version, this looked like a well-made car. Everything looks really well done. And then I drove it and it was just not good. Seems they've solved that. So, these are 5,000 milliamp soft packs. If you do want to just run one battery, whether it's a 3, 4, or 6S, they do give you a jumper plug for the second connector. It will also fit full-size 3S batteries. These are 6200s. They give you a set of longer straps for the taller batteries like that. The only thing that I can see better so far about the older version is that it comes with a a Dumbo RC radio, while this comes with your standard Hosim one. There was nothing special about it. It didn't have a gyro or anything. These I've never had an issue with though. They always work just fine. Foam wheel, well, I'm gonna claim it. I think they made all these improvements because of my original video on the old one. I don't know. They probably knew all this stuff anyway. All right, a little bit of road testing first. Oh yeah. Humble, oh my gosh. Whee! As usual, gyro would be nice, but there's still something about not having one, making it more challenging, sometimes making it more fun. I'm gonna be sneezing up dirt particles for a week. That's fine, who doesn't love some dirt particles? Parallel parked it. Oh, big tree root. Oh my gosh, I can't see. Oh, that was smooth. Oh! That suspension needs to be adjusted a little bit higher. Oh! That was a power cartwheel. .360! Okay, side by side. I already mentioned that this one came with a Dumbo RC radio, and it's probably a little bit better than this one is, but I've never had problems with these. I've had quite a few of both. It does not have the gyro, so you're not missing out on that. I've mentioned this before, if you decide you want a gyro, it's very easy to add them to any RC car with a 3-wire steering servo. I'll list one of those in the description just so you can get an idea. It's real, and they just hook in line with your servo. Now I'll talk about a couple differences between these two now. It's all in the tuning. And then about the suspension, which is my one gripe. So I do still feel like this one was slightly livelier. These are quite literally the exact same car. So the only thing that's causing that is the fact that this one has the higher tooth pinion in it that gave it 5 extra more miles an hour, and it also still has thicker differential fluid at least in the center. I tuned this one with 500,000 weight, which I think was perfect. This one feels a little bit thinner. It's probably closer to 200 to 300,000. With that said, this still did really well, but if you decide to break into it, I would go with 500,000 weight or even thicker if you want to. And then of course the high-speed pinion is a very simple swap. So that's all I needed this one for. I really like the way this drives. It's very stable, and you'll see that with that car, the old springs that had it lift way up, actually it's these, they give you the option to put these on, but it sits up so high that it traction rolls really easily. And now, with the springs that it should have on it that make it sit a lot lower, it barely traction rolls at all. The one exception is when you hit certain types of bumps, like the edge of a driveway or a sharp tree root. It catches the rear end pretty bad and causes it to flip forward. And that brings me to my one gripe. The way that these control arms are designed, there's not a whole lot of suspension travel. Well, actually, I'm wording that wrong. The suspension travel is there and it's not that bad, but it's the fact that in the normal stance, the center of the chassis isn't sitting very high off the ground. Now, of course, you can always adjust the spring tension and raise that suspension up, or even use those longer springs that it came with. But when I was driving it on, minus the occasional hitting the sidewalk and tree roots, it was perfect for that. And that isn't super smooth. It's grassy and clumpy in a lot of areas. And it was mostly fun. But it definitely wouldn't be all that great at doing jumps that are over, say, a foot or two. Oh. Definitely likes to nosedive. I meant to do that. Yeah, I'd keep those jumps to a foot or two. Yeah, looks like it's even okay after all that nonsense. Definitely not much of a jumper. Now, nothing broke. There's really nothing to go over underneath the body. Nothing was bent. All the axles, everything's perfectly straight. Now I'm gonna talk about price a little bit. And I'm also gonna bring out the 4S Mojave, because they're almost exactly the same size. I really messed up my Mojave body. That's gonna be on a upcoming video I'm really excited about. It's almost like these were designed after the same car or something. So Hosim has always been really good about being able to get replacement parts. You can get them directly from their website, and sometimes they'll even have them on Amazon. Of course, you most likely won't have Hosim at your local hobby shop. Being that this is a new release, I have a temporary coupon code that you can use that makes this $425. I don't like putting prices in my videos because prices are gonna change and eventually that's gonna confuse people. But I feel like this is a good point to bring up in this video. That's $75 off, normally $500. But for now, that makes it $145 less than the 4S Mojave. Now I'm just gonna push this down. Push this down. You can see how that one's close to the ground and this one isn't quite as close to the ground. That's kind of the one weakness that this car has, but for a lot of people that's not going to be a big deal. It just again depends on how you're going to drive it and what your terrain is. Don't get me wrong, I'm by no means saying that this is a better buy than the Mojave. That's up for you to decide because opinions are going to go both ways. And this one has the adjustable servo saver, something you've been missing, pal. I think this is awesome. I really enjoyed this car. I'm happy with it. It's impressed me. The suspension is the one thing that I'm not too fond of. Again, it's not even the suspension. It's really more in the design of the control arms than anything else. See, like on this guy, you have this curve in the control arm that brings the chassis up higher, and these arms are just straight. Now I'm gonna check one more thing. On the orange car, they had an issue with Loctite. They used a little too much of it. Mainly in screws like this where it's something screwed to the metal motor mount. Yeah, that's still really tight. Yeah, that one comes right out. So yeah, like last time, the screws to loosen the motor and put the bigger pinion on shouldn't be a problem. That's the one thing they didn't fix over the other one. That'll definitely make removal a bit more difficult for some screws. We have had some awesome RC releases this year, and I'm super excited to see what else is coming and what next year's gonna bring. But this car is almost definitely gonna be in my list of favorites for this year. Now, if you wanna see that orange car in its untuned condition that I was rather disappointed in, it's right here. And then this shows the tuning process and the aftermath and me being much happier with the vehicle. And that's another awesome off-road vehicle, a trophy truck.